Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
Hey. And we are back with your Survivor News covering season 45, episode 8. I am joined by the man who said what he said last episode, and the Jack Shack showed up in the comments. We have Jack Atkins from The Circle season 2. Baby boy, what's going on?
Man, just hot off last episode. Shout out to the Jack Shack. And then, so excited for this one. We got what might be the best episode of the season so far. So I just can't wait to unpack it all.
It's a lot. When DZ is coming, he's running a little late, but I figure, we have a special guest, and I figure we should bring that special guest up. But Jack, I feel like I wanted to tell you something because I feel like you, of all people, would appreciate this. This Survivor News episode happens to be the Purple Pants Podcast 300th episode. Can you believe that?
Oh my gosh.
We have come a very long way, and I'm excited and happy that it happens to fall on a Survivor News episode. And so I feel like in celebration, I should bring out a queen. I should bring out a legend. I should bring out who, in my opinion, does not get the respect on her name that she deserves. Let's bring out our friend to the show and queen from season 44, Miss Lauren Harpe.
Hey, I am so happy to be here, and congratulations on your 300th episode. How dope is that?
Okay, and I said, it's a party, okay? It's a party.
Hey.
So we have so much to get into because that episode was kind of sort of crazy. But before we get into that, life is crazy. And next week, when DZ and I are bringing the Tour 45 to Philadelphia the night before Thanksgiving. And if you know that night gives what it's supposed to give. Tickets are still available. And December 5th, we are heading to the NOLA, baby. And, word on the block is I think Miss Hart might be pulling up to some of the things.
Yes, I will be in New Orleans. I can't wait. It's going to be so fun, so fly. I don't know who else going to be there, but y'all going to have to wait and find out. Or come see.
You're going to have to come see. And if you want to come see, you can click the link in the Brice and Wendell Present Instagram bio, and it is going to be a good time. Now, before we get into the episode, though, Lauren, we got so much to unpack. A lot of things. Wendell and I had the opportunity to head to New York this past Tuesday for a private screening of this episode, and Jeff Probst was there. Okay, I said,
I seen your picture. Okay.
I said Jeffrey. And so it was honestly such a great time. There were so many amazing survivors. Rob was there, DK Chillin, Jam, Josh, and there were so many other people that were there. And it was just such a special time. And I don't want to talk too much about it because we got this episode to get to, but just know that there will be another episode. Wendell and I are going to do recapping that whole experience. Now, we got some more things on the agenda that we have to talk to. So last week on the Purple Pants Podcast, Lauren, Jack has some hot takes.
Okay.
Jack has some hot takes.
Okay.
What's new?
What you talking about, Jack?
I just wanted to clear it up, though, to the posse, right? Because all in the comments, everybody was like, I have to agree with Jack. I stand with Jack. I don't know what y'all talking about. Now, I agree with Jack's take, right? I think the message got lost. Like, now, mind you, I never say Bruce was my winner pick. I never say...
you were talking about Bruce?
So it had to do with Bruce, where we felt like after seeing Bruce in episode 7 at that tribal, he was in such, in my opinion, a strong position. Like he was in a position of power, and Jack did not agree with it at all. And a lot of people agreed with him, but I was shocked because, on the Purple Pants Podcast, Lauren, Jack be talking about people's game. And then when he...
And I never play Survivor.
Well,
Hey. fair enough. But hey, just because you're a sports commentator doesn't mean you got to be able to slam dunk.
That's
you know
right.
what I
That's
mean?
right. You're right.
True.
And look, here's the thing, Lauren, and you know, I think Brice. Hot take for me is a strong word. I feel like I was calling it how I see it.
Okay.
Wasn't saying anything too crazy. I even talked with Bruce after. All good. The thing
Was
is,
it though?
and
Was
I-
it
and I-
though?
it was
Was
all
it?
good. He called me from
Find
his
you in
friend's
those
boat and
streets,
said,
baby. I'm gonna find you. Nah, man, I love it. I love it. I love it. Keep it coming. Let's go. Jack Atkins, I'm gonna find you in those streets, baby. I'm gonna find you. Nah, man, I love it. I love it. I love it. Keep it coming. Let's
I've never
go.
been in a Twitter drama, but
Okay.
no. Here's the thing, and I love me some James Jones, but when you bring him on the podcast, it's like you enter the upside down, and up is down, left is right. And look, I said to him last week, some of his takes are like Survivor philosophy that I've never even thought about, and then some
Right.
of his takes are like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah,
And
deep
so-
thinker.
I think Lauren has experienced the Jack Jones experience. I believe for Lauren's finale, we happened to be going somewhere. It was me, Lauren, James, Wendell,
Yeah.
and Joey in the car. And James had some hot takes that
On everything.
me and Lauren was like,
We gave each other that look like, what are you talking about?
James was like, yeah, that's a chicken place. You know, to make chicken, you got to grow a chicken. And to grow a chicken, you got to have agriculture. Me and Lauren was like,
You gotta respect them though.
Yeah.
You gotta respect them.
sometimes it's genius, and sometimes it's the weirdest thing you've ever heard. But we'll take you know.
well, we love James. He is a friend of the show. So yeah, Jack, let's get into episode 8.
Man, there's
And
so
let's
much.
see how Bruce did this episode.
Oh,
Well, was my hot take? And Lauren, I love me some Bruce. Like I love Bruce, but you know, going back to my hot takes last week,
Yeah.
all of a sudden Bruce is the number one target this episode. So,
but we see how it ended. So who? Like, I feel like
well, because you win
Navigating,
immunity
though.
doesn't mean you're not the
Navigating.
target. But anyways, lots to unpack here. Unfortunately, I'm on my phone for this recording, and because I lost my charger, got broken, so I got all my notes on paper.
oh,
So we're switching it up this week, so bear with me. But we get back from the last joint tribal council, or double tribal, I should say. The first group returns, and Drew is concerned about this symbolic victory that Bruce had last week, avoiding that vote out as Sifu went home. I just want to get your guys' take. Do you guys think this idea of a symbolic victory is one that's important, or is it sort of like where in the game that you're at, like that's where you're at, and there's no such thing as like a symbolic victory? It's only like real victories. What's your guys' take about a symbolic victory?
I think a symbolic victory is important, right? Because I think that it can set the tone, and people will follow behind the tone. And so I think that it's important because it could literally change the game, or it could change the way that the game is going, and it could have some of your supporters not want to get behind you because you don't have that momentum. What do you think, Lauren?
Right. I agree with you. But then also, as quickly as it can change it, like it can change in another direction. So I think that it's probably more so just for the moment, like you got that, you got that win, then the next time it's going to be something different. It can quickly change.
Yeah.
I feel like from your season, Lauren, you of all people would know how quickly things can change. And when it seems like you're not at the top or you're at the bottom and you have to work through it, do you see a lot of things that you can relate to on this current season?
Oh, most definitely. I think it's all about just being adaptable, and how you can mold yourself. So I teach special education, and a lot of my kids have disabilities, and like they don't change, but like Bruce doesn't change, right? So if I was working with Bruce, I got to give him some accommodations. I'm going to have to front load him. I'm going to have to change myself and give him different things to be able to work around him. So they have a lot of players, I feel like Bruce, and even maybe Julie. That's her name, Julie.
Mama Tina, Mama Julie, yes.
Julie, those players that are not wavering, like they loyal, they not wavering, and you just got to move around them. And I think that's kind of what I did, in our season, and then this season you got to do that as well.
I have a question for you, Jack, though. Do you feel like, and you, Lauren, players like Brice and Mama Tina, do you feel like it's difficult to work with them? Or is it, if you know how somebody is coming, even though it might be harder for you to navigate it, would you rather know how somebody is coming and how they're going to react, as opposed to somebody that you just don't know what or how they will react and what they'll do?
Man, for me, I see it sort of as a double-edged sword, right? Like, if you look at the game of Survivor as a bunch of sort of shifting and moving parts, that one person, I guess in this instance, like a Brice, who's kind of always in that same spot, it allows you to plan and kind of understand. It's almost like a gears turning, where if he's that gear, he's always going to be moving that same way. You could put those other pieces together and make the machine turn more effectively. But you also like sometimes to have, sometimes you like to have a piece that might be able to be flexible, move around, because sometimes that machine is going to get clogged up. And if you're insistent on continuing to turn the same way, then that might not allow you to get that machine rolling. So it's a balance of each. But if you're an ally with Brice, you know, his relationships with some of the other players can be detrimental, as we've seen Kelly start to sort of see. But I think that knowing that his loyalty is and will always be to you can definitely be a huge asset.
Right. I agree. He loyal. They better get up off of him. I'm tired of them dogging him. I'm tired of it.
But you also mentioned a Mama Julie in this question, Brice, and that's sort of the prime example of what I deem to be a fantastic ally, where she's shown that she's loyal, but she's also shown that she's a little bit malleable to the suggestions of her allies and will let them kind of take the lead a little bit. And so far, she hasn't lashed back again or pushed back against those plans. And she's also someone that seems to have a solid strategic mind. You could have good strategic discussions with her. That's the type of ally that I'd love to have in the game of Survivor, because she's also just been in a good social position so far too.
Is there a path for Mama Tina that is Julie to get to the end, though?
I think, and I've said this a few episodes ago, I think Julie has maybe one of the best shots of anyone of getting to the end, but not necessarily of winning, because she hasn't really been driving the game, but she's consistently been in that car of that group. That's that core. And so she's in the back seat giving you good directions on the map. You're like, well, let me keep her around. She's not driving.
Yeah. I think they would want to take her to the end. Most definitely, because she, like we said, she's loyal and she's always been there, you know. But in the end, she would have to have a strong pitch, really strong pitch, to be able to win at this point.
But here's the thing, though, that makes me, again, after tonight's episode, I feel like we've seen winners the last 3 seasons resemble more of a Mama Tina that is Julie. So it's like, I feel like, I mean, hey, Mama Julie.
Hey, girl. Yeah, I mean, that's true. And I guess it just depends, you know, on who's in the jury, you know, and those relationships they build. But that's very true. That's the way the game has been going. So
yeah. But I will say, at some point, I think she's going to be, you know, have to, you know, to make a basketball analogy, she's going to have to go out there and ask for the ball and go put up a couple shots, because she's been a great teammate so far, dishing out assists. But if you want to win the game of Survivor, I think you got to go out there and score some points. And she hasn't really done that on her own so far. So,
Jack, with the analogy.
We got some analogies flowing today. I don't know.
You need to be on Survivor.
I want to know. So he ain't play Survivor, but I mean, did you play basketball, Jack? Because you coming in like,
okay, them alley-oops. That's one.
Yeah.
Okay, the F1. Okay,
so yeah, I feel whenever I'm making an analogy on here, I'm like, I remember those, you know, some of the old seasons of Survivor. I guess only a few years ago, when they would like love the analogies and like at Tribal, they were just making analogies that didn't even make any sense. And it's like, all right, I don't want to make analogies just for analogy's sake, but sometimes it's easier to compare, especially as someone who has not played Survivor. But you know, we get the second tribe coming back to camp. And this is where Jake just voted with Caleb against Mama Julie. And Jake is kind of, you know, on the defensive now, trying to make up, trying to make amends with Julie. And Jake plays it super cool and is super friendly and funny. But we do see Julie sort of say like, well, you're willing to work with me until it comes to going against one of your allies. So is
Yeah.
that really a willingness to work with me? And she seems no longer willing to work with Jake. If anyone's coming out of the last episode kind of most on their toes, I'd have to say it's a Jake. How do you guys think he could recover from this at this point in the episode?
I don't know how I feel about Jake, y'all. I mean, I was on edge with him. I mean, I was with him with trying to make moves. You know, he was trying to bring some strategy in. He tried to like make his own, I guess you say, like take the ball into his own hands, right? But I don't know how I feel about him just yet. I don't feel like we've seen enough of him yet. And then even right there at the end of Tribal, like saying, Julie, it was me. Like he didn't have to say that, you know?
So I agree with you, right? But I also feel like for me, I look into the edit, right? And sometimes the edit deceives you, and sometimes the edit, like, and I feel like in this new seasons of Survivor, I feel like they like to play with us in the edit, right? Like I feel like they enjoy, and listening to On Fire with Jeff Probst on the last episode, like I feel like they enjoy it, right? So in my mind, it's like we all were scared that Jake was going to get taken out medically. And it seems that he's doing well. So my first thing that pops into my mind is, why show us that? Right? Like, you know, because in my mind, that builds a hero arc. Because we looking at him like, oh, is he, you know, every challenge, I'm like, oh, is he all right? What's he going to do? And so I am not mad at the fact that at the end of the Tribal, he was like, Mama Tina Julie, it was me. Because in some way, shape, or form, that's like taking accountability. And even with him talking to Mama Tina Julie after it and saying, like, I'm willing to work with you. And Mama Tina, like, well, you willing to work with me until it ain't really. But girl, that's already the unspoken rule that we already know. Right. So it's like he's saying we'll move forward. I don't know. Jake, I mean, let's just say this. After tonight's episode and after last night's episode, Jake's zaddy meter is, you know, it's rising for me.
Zaddy meter.
I mean, I just, you know
what Jake remind me of? I can't get it out of my mind when I watch him. Jake, he's really, really good at lying, right? So we know he's a good player. Like he's good at lying, I guess. But he reminds me of that turtle off of Finding Nemo. Like Crush. Like he lean in the pack. He's cool. He lean in the pack. And he got something behind it, you know, like he got some weapons, you know. So I don't know. Every time I see him, I that's what I see.
Wow. But I also feel like he's from Boston, and I always say to people, Boston is like the cousin city to Philadelphia. And so it's like the one thing I know about people from Philadelphia is we hustlers, we gritty, and we get it by any means necessary. And so it's like I just am looking at Jake a little different now. And so it's like I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
Yeah. And you know, Jake the last few episodes has been a real highlight for me. I don't necessarily his gameplay hasn't necessarily been perfect, of course. We even see him kind of acknowledge that it was sort of foolish for him to assume that Katora would be down with this plan. But the thing with Jake, it's like he's in that spot now where he's kind of got to be on go and like scrambling to cover his own butt. And I don't think there's any more fun Survivor to watch than someone who's playing that kind of style. It might not be the best gameplay, but it's going to be entertaining. And especially a guy like Jake, who's naturally very funny. He's got that thick Boston accent, and now he's just hustling out there. It's been really great to watch. So, and we see, of course, a lot more of that throughout the episode that we'll get into. But moving on to the day after this post-tribal antics, we get the 6 women together in the shelter while the 4 fellas are over at the beach. And we see a women's alliance kind of come together with Bruce and Jake being primary targets. Historically, maybe barring the Black Widow Brigade, women's alliances or all men's alliances have kind of historically struggled. And to follow suit with that, we soon see Emily go and tell Drew that this women's alliance is forming. Of course, he's concerned, but they sort of acknowledge that, you know, with Drew and Austin not being targets, this could be something to help farther their agenda of getting out like a Bruce or a Jake's for the short term, not necessarily the long term. But what do you guys think about this?
I think it's ladies' night. What? It must be Angie on the right. Butter tea could have got the sugar, got the spice. I'm the rookie on the scene, like Thelma in Louise. Me and Kim getting bang this in your whips, patent coated with the rollie in the hips. I dismiss all you hips. Okay, you know that song, Lauren?
What's that song?
Lauren, not you with Jack.
I'm with Jack.
Welcome.
What's
that
that
Lil'
song,
Kim?
right?
Miss all you chicks spit from the 6th to the 4th, make you dance. Ow.
Lil' Kim? I'm going to go with Lil' Kim too.
Okay, it is. It's giving Lil' Kim Ladies Night with the remix Left Eye, Angie Martinez, and Missy Elliott.
Brice, did you hear me say Lil' Kim as well?
He said it first.
He did.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't know who Jack is anymore, Lauren. Like, he got one good episode in on Survivor News, and now all of a sudden, but also
It's that symbolic victory, that momentum.
Right.
But low key, his go-to answers are Lil' Kim, Mary J. Blige, and Beyonce. So I mean, it was kind of like he played.
What about Aaliyah?
Well, now he ain't no rock the boat though, so we had to teach him rock the boat.
Rock the boat.
Rock the boat.
I'm not a singer.
Okay, that's all right.
But which one? Okay, the Girls Alliance. The Girls Alliance.
I feel like Lauren and Jack, y'all will get along because Lauren was like, all right, we done with that scene.
Yeah.
And let's keep it moving. And I was all ready to be like, more than a woman. So here's the thing, right? I got a hot take. Miss Emily.
Yes.
I mean, I love you, but now, you know, this is how I know I love Emily because we family, because I'm mad at her this episode.
What?
I'm mad at her this episode from a viewer standpoint, not I'm thinking about Emily's game, because from a viewer standpoint, as a gay man watching Survivor, the only thing I could salivate more for is another all ladies alliance. Like I'm like, oh my God, Kendra, Katora, Kelly, D. I'm like, yeah, like hearing that, the way I got so excited for the potential of this alliance, and so I was a little upset at Emily for ruining that dream for me, not for her game. I feel like for her game, she's playing.
Yeah, I like the idea of a women's alliance, but then, like, if it's me playing, you know, if I'm out there and they want to do a women's alliance, you got to think about, okay, if we knocking all these dudes out, then who's the target? Emily gonna be the target then, or D? You know, they winning. So it was good for her game. It would be lovely to see an all women's alliance, you know, but nah, I don't think it would work.
See, I feel like, Lauren, that's why you got to the end of your season, because if I'm out there, I feel like I don't think my mind would have been like, well, where am I at in this alliance? I think my first reaction would have been like, oh, okay, that's 4 more votes. That's 4 more episodes I could be in. Like, you know, I think that
right.
We see why you the beast that you are, okay?
Well, thank you.
And then,
Jam was up there talking about a women's alliance.
Really?
He lied.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then Lauren, I wanted to ask you, as you know, a woman who played recently, and you also worked with several women. Why do you think there's a reason that historically the women's alliances don't really shake out, or is it just sort of coincidental, or what's the logic behind that?
I just think there's different type of women, you know, and like in this game of Survivor, you know, it's all about your threat level. So especially right now in the game, I think, I don't know historically, but more so like women are winning, right, at the merge, because it's like an individual game, but then it's endurance and things like that. So, I mean, if you're winning these immunities and you're putting this big target on your back, then why would you want to stay with other women? I would want somebody else like Bruce there with me, because he's a target. He's a target. You know, people want to get him out. Or like I would have kept Brandon with me the whole time, you know, like, because he's big, he was winning too. But I don't know. For me, it wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
I feel like James Jones would be so happy. Like, oh, Laura said threat level, because James Jones lives It dies by your threat level.
But here's the thing: James Jones thinks that everyone has like the same threat level, which is kind of an oxymoron. It kind of defeats the purpose of a threat.
Did he say that though?
See,
yeah.
Don't put words in James' mouth.
Right, because I feel like Jack trying to do his big one now that James is not here, and James is literally a phone call away, Jackery.
I'll go back and get the receipts. He said like everyone's the same. He said season 44 sucks too. I don't know.
No, he did not.
Now he lying.
No, he did not.
I'm playing.
No, he did not.
But yeah, I think maybe my theory, and I think you're absolutely right, Lauren. To add to it, I think maybe my theory is just like to maybe build an alliance as big as a 6-person alliance off something as I guess simple as gender. When you've been through the game with other people, you have tribal lines. It's gonna be tough to just be like, yo, let's all get together because we're women. When you have all these other connections in the game. So for that to stick is going to be a little bit difficult. But guys, should we get into one of the highlights of the episode, one of the highlights of the new era? For the first time since 2015, the auction has returned.
I loved it.
I love it. And so, before we even get over to Jeff Probst with all the items, we've got this new element to it where there's going to be this scramble for money. There's tubes hidden around the woods. And it's kind of self-explanatory. It's a glorified Easter egg hunt, but we do see a couple of different strategies here with Bruce deciding to use his old man wisdom. And I thought that was going to be Bruce. Wendell, what's up?
Excuse my tardiness. I'm sorry. What's up, Lauren? How we doing?
Hey, doing well. Good to see you.
I like the buff.
I think it's inspired by Austin.
I know.
Sexy Austin.
Yes. We know
see, you know what, Lauren? You
better stop back up.
No, Lauren, you got Caleb.
Guess who told me how to tie it? Austin. I was like,
you know what? Hold it.
He was sliding in my DM.
Lauren, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. Okay.
The wheel is back.
I'm tired of you. Okay, sorry. I'm tired of you, Lauren. Lauren wants all my zaddies. And Lauren and I talked at the beginning of the season, and I allowed you to have President Caleb on your zaddy draft pick.
Caleb. I didn't want President Caleb.
Girl, I got the text message to show. I said, well, which one you got? You said Caleb. I said, great, I'm taking Austin. Now Austin showing you how to tie that. Got you.
Whatever. Caleb not there no more, so.
Well, all right. Well, Bruce, you've been on notice. Okay. I'm gonna have to go with Bruce now.
Brice,
say that. What you say?
I said it's good to see you all.
Yes. But Jack, back to the auction, because when DZ, you late.
Yeah, when you hopped in at the perfect time, we're just diving into the auction, talking about how they have to look through the woods for different tubes with different amounts of money in them. Most people are on the same page with the strategy here, which is run and go look for it. But we do see Bruce say, "I'm gonna use my wisdom and my intuition to go find these tubes," and he gets a whole $80. But
I had a question. Okay, so when I was watching that, I was thinking, like, could they take other people's tubes, like, once they were in there? Or, like, probably not.
No, I don't think so.
Use it in that way, like, or even, like, at the auction, like, give somebody their money and,
So I was wondering that because there have been seasons where people combined their money. But I assumed that with the rules of it, you having the highest at the end, you probably couldn't do that. But I was maybe that's I don't want to say scammer in me, but I was thinking like
the finesser.
I was just thinking like when Bruce got there, I was like, he could have just slid one from Austin's and just dropped it down in his plate. But I'm sure Survivor would not be for that.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, we see we see Bruce, does get a whole lot of money, but we do see D get the most money, and then Austin also gets a ton of money. And then we head over to the official Survivor 45 auction. And just before we get into it, I want to lay out those new rules that Jeff mentioned. And then
before we do that, Jack, I just also want to test your knowledge. I feel like when DZ will know this, Lauren, I don't know whose side you really on, but I feel like this message is strictly and specifically for Brice, okay? Because what Brice was giving out there, while my man Austin was breaking the sweat, okay? While Couture was out there running, okay? While Emily was skipping, finding stuff, Brice was like, just hold on. He was giving, hello there. It's going to be a great day, but listen, wait a minute. Won't you be my neighbor?
Oh, I know
okay.
all that, man.
Won't you be okay? That my neighbor. I said, not Brice flipping his shoe, tying his shoe. Like Brice was giving me out there, Mr. Rogers. Oh, okay.
Not Brice's face.
When
you
Brice,
wrong for that.
When he flipped, when he was sitting down on the beach and flipped his sneaker and put it on, I said, all these young kids, Austin's out there. If your shoe not tied right, you could sprain an ankle. Let me just make sure these Skechers pump ups is tied right, because I gotta have my support.
Did he do a double knot, Brice?
I think he definitely did a double knot. Okay, I ain't never seen nobody in all out free for all flip they shoe in the air and then put it on and tie it.
He was on his time, Brice.
Okay, them young people out there. Okay, crazy Uncle Brice ain't have his beer yet, so he was just waking up.
Not to make another basketball analogy, but it kind of reminded me when you pull up to the court and there's that old head. He spends 30 minutes stretching out before the game, and they're doing like a whole routine, and they got like the Reebok dad shoes that they're lacing up.
I might have turned into that old head.
Turned into?
I'll be on the court doing my jog, I'm doing skips. I do the karaoke drum.
Yeah.
Man.
And we're like, yo, we need one. And you're like, I'm doing my stretches.
I'm going to need 15 more minutes.
I'm going to need 15 minutes. Honestly, I might need to start getting the stretches in too. But yeah, so Brice, we get to dive into the auction now.
Go ahead. Go ahead, young blood.
Mr. Rogers neighborhood auction. So we got the new rules. We got the scramble for the money. We've got Jeff letting them know there's going to be no advantages whatsoever. And then we also have this rule that Jeff has like I guess a certain number of rocks or tokens or whatever, with a number between 6 and 15. So the auction is guaranteed to go for at least 5 rounds, or I guess guaranteed to go 6 rounds, but it could last anywhere between 6 and 15. You don't know when it's going to end, and whoever has the most money left at the end loses their vote. Guys, what do we think about these new rules? Any of the rules?
I love them. I know normally people will be mad at the new adaptations.
Sure.
Ain't that how you say it?
Adaptations.
Adaptations. I still like the hourglass. People don't like it. I mean, I feel like whoever thought out how to do the auction, they did a good job, because I wasn't mad at anything. I like the scramble. I like the fact that there will be no advantages, because, in older seasons, people just hold out all their money just for that one advantage. And so I was very happy, and I've been campaigning for a very long time. I don't want to say it was me, but I've been campaigning since I've gotten off the island 3 years ago that we need the auction back. So for 3 consecutive years, I've been saying we need the auction. And I ain't gonna say nothing, but you know, Jeff Probst knows my name very well. And so I mean, I'd like to say to all of the Survivor fans out there, you're welcome.
Yeah, I think when he saw Jeff last night, he probably was like, "Oh, we gotta put this back in."
Probably. Good job, Brice.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brice.
I think with that auction, with all the rules, I like the idea of the auction, but tell me what you guys think. Like, I think it didn't give enough room for like strategy in any way. Like, they just took their money and they paid it all, you know, and like got what they wanted, and then it was just like a domino effect after that. What y'all think about it? What you laughing at, Brice?
Because I feel like the strategy is you should try to get the most money, and the money ain't in your shoe.
So the strategy should have been at the beginning when they was running.
Yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't. I hear what you're saying, because I feel like, one, the strategy is as soon as possible, bid all of your money on your first item that you can, or wait until that tier level gets to where you can bid. Don't be playing with these $80. First of all, and whoever did that, y'all was playing, because I think somebody bid like $60 at first. Like, why y'all trying to appease Bruce? Because you know he only got $80, so you just wanted to make him feel like he could participate. But
he ain't say nothing.
Would he have participated? Like, what is a Bruce strategy if you only have $80?
No, you don't.
Yeah, that's here. Yeah, I had a couple thoughts that I want to hop in and share. First and foremost, I agree with you, Lauren. When there's this whole thing about whoever has the most money left, XYZ, it kind of is going to make players bid all their money, and so you can't really bid for exactly what you want because you're worried about like having money left. B, I thought that, you know, the reason they got rid of the auction is because they were worried about players holding out for an advantage and that stifling sort of the action. So I like that there's no advantage to bid on. However, I kind of wish they would have said, you know, instead of there's no advantage, maybe they say there's going to be no advantage up for grabs to be bid on. And then I would have loved maybe hiding a clue in like the sandwich or something.
That would be cool.
Because then you can't hold your money. You don't know where the advantage is going to be. But it would be a little fun twist. And then my last thing, and this might be a bit of a conspiracy, but it's very rare that I feel like Survivor intervenes with things or kind of like rigs things. But I'm keen to believe that I don't think the number was ever going to be like a 6 or a 15.
They had all 10s in their bag.
Yeah, I think it was maybe 9s, 10s, and 11s. Because if it's 6, the auction's just going to be short, and you lose out on. And you know, for example, they had the whole cake thing planned at like 9. They want that moment of you know, whoever picking people to share the cake, and they're wolfing it down. And then I feel like they want at least, you know, 8, 9 items, and then if it goes to 15, you know, item 11, Bruce is going to bid his 80. No one's gonna have any money left. You can't bid on anything, and then they're just gonna be sitting around, and then no one's gonna lose their vote because they all have no money. So they have to make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm inclined to believe that the numbers were all, like Lauren said, maybe 9, 10, 11, and just somewhere, or maybe they were just all 10s because they're like, that's the perfect amount. But
Jack, let me ask you this: so do you think that as a reward, they just naturally had a margarita and peanut butter and jelly sandwich together? And because that was in one of them. That was, or
they could keep
my thought is like there might have been a margarita and chips might have been one win. A peanut butter and jelly sandwich might have been one. Because like I don't see a world where I feel like someone in the back like threw them together knowing that they only had 10 instead of having 15. So I feel like there was some combining.
But what do you think happens? Say the number was actually like 13. The next round, Bruce bids his 80. There's going to be 2 rounds. No one has money, and then no one loses their vote.
Well, Austin would potentially still have money because he didn't spend all of his money, but he did.
Kelly and Bruce was the only person with money left when the auction ended.
Now Bruce and Emily, huh?
Yeah.
I think whoever had money last would have been the loser.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what happened.
Right.
Because Bruce was the last person with money.
Yes.
I think it would be cool if they can send their money, you know, share their money with each other and then play, you know, then you can see like who's aligned with who or who's trying to get at somebody else, whatever.
Yeah, but overall, I'm happy with the rules. It was a lot of fun to watch. And I want to do a quick little, I wouldn't call it a game, but I want to go through the items and who won what. And then at the end, I want us all to say what item we would have bid all our money on, if that's cool, you guys. So first up, we had pretzels and beer. Went to Kendra for all her money. Next up, we had fries and soda. Went to Kelly for $500, which left her with $200. Or I'm sorry, $500, which left her with $200. Then we had number 3 was a covered item. Went to Emily for all her money, and it was charcuterie and wine. Number 4, chocolate shake, goes to D for all her money, $900. Number 5 is covered, goes to Katura for all her money, $480. She has an option to switch it, keeps it, and it's fish eyes, which she is not rocking with. Austin actually bids $100 to get a taste of the fish eyes, which I actually didn't mind because it's like he had a lot of money, get your money down, and then also you get a little teasing moment that's fun for $100. Oh my god. Brice has edited his own face over the fish eye as Austin is eating.
Okay, listen.
Okay,
Austin.
Not him slurping it.
This is disturbing.
This is a family-friendly show, Brice.
And it is. And listen, fish eyes aren't for everybody, but you know, I would have bid all my money on the fish eyes. And so I'm glad, you know, Austin might show some people how to do the buff, but you know, are you the eye in his mouth is the question, okay? Because if you ain't, be quiet.
I'm gonna have nightmares.
Take this off of the thank you.
Okay, so next up, we've got the other covered item that Katura passed on. Goes to Drew for all his money. Ends up being a bowl of candy, which he's a little disappointed about. He wanted some carbs, some protein. 7th item is pizza. Goes to Austin for all his remaining money, $600. That Survivor pizza, I feel like notoriously a little bit gross, but Austin looked like if he could eat a fish eye, he could eat a little pizza. 8th item is a toothbrush and toothpaste. Goes to Julie for $420. Number 9 is the chocolate cake. Goes to Jake for all his money, $340. He decides to split it with Julie and Bruce. And I thought it was funny that when the timer ended, they couldn't pick up anymore, but they could keep what they had. So they all just had like fistfuls. I would have just been shoveling it into my shirt and just like wrapped it up. But and then the last item is the sandwich and margarita, which Kelly was especially craving. She wins it. I think it was covered, and she wins it for the rest of her money. Auction is over. Bruce has $80 left, loses his vote. But guys, we'll start with Brice, and then go around. Which of these items would have caught your fancy the most?
I think the beer and the margarita, because I'm a margarita type of girl. So like, but I don't want it with no peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I do want to say that when Kendra got her beer, was I the only person that it just took me back to David versus Goliath? And you know, it just reminded me of Davy and Uncle Carl. That's the only thing that I could think of.
That's our boy. Not too much on our boy Davy, Brice Isaiah. Take it easy on our boy.
And I know you got more questions, but I just had to say, my girl Emily, I said, hold on, wait, let me get this out your way. My girl Emily, when she got her little wine and charcuterie board, I mean, it don't take me much, you know. It don't take me a Laura much to, you know, pop, lock, and drop it. But I guess a little pepperoni and some mimosa had our girl, Emily. Our girl Emily
crazy.
was going crazy.
He was twerking out there.
She did her big one. Jeff said, "Who are you?" Emily said, "I'm a city girl."
Oh my God. Lauren, how about you? What would your pick have been?
I would have went with the chocolate cake. I mean, you get to pick some other people to be with you, you know, maybe form some bonds there, and then it's a lot of carbs too. So
Yeah,
I don't have nothing special behind that.
When what's your pick?
I think I would have either done the wine and charcuterie to get the protein in me, or the margarita peanut butter and jelly, and I think it was chips or something with that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't spend $900 on a milkshake. I know that.
If you want to twerk on Survivor, just say that, Wendell. Okay, like if that's what you wanted to do, Jack, what would you have? What would have?
Yeah,
fancy?
You know, if the pizza was like good pizza, I love a good pizza, but it looked a little off. So I think I would have ideally wanted probably the charcuterie and the wine. You know, the charcuterie is good protein. I'm a savory guy, so the sweets don't interest me that much. So some good protein, some cheese, and then a little bit of wine. Get a little tipsy. Would have been fun. And I love that you brought up the Davey and Uncle Carl, Brice, because I wish we had more Survivor moments of players getting like drunk.
Right. And if you remember David and Goliath, I feel like Uncle Carl getting a little loose kind of sunk his game a little bit, because he got a little too loose. So I always kind of sort of love those moments. And, you know, me almost spending a decade in child welfare and working in the adolescent unit, when I saw Mama Julie with the toothbrush and mouthwash, I was like, I wonder if she's going to drink that mouthwash, because, you know, some kids will drink the mouthwash for the alcohol content. So I was just curious about that. So y'all mean to tell me nobody would have got a Brice eye?
No, the way he bit into that thing, like he took the biggest bite and then slurped it all, the cornea, all that stuff up. Like it was disgusting. Kudos to the editing team, though. The sound effects, all of that was
listen. In my opinion, he ate it like groceries. So I was very happy.
It was hard to watch.
I couldn't even. The fish eyes that I had on Ghost Island were much smaller than those, and I couldn't do anything with that.
Yeah, I'm like, what kind of fish was that?
Jeff said on the. I'm sorry, I just listened to all the pods. Jeff said on the On Fire podcast that the Marine team guy was down there catching a snapper like super deep, and he had the snapper on ice, and they were looking for something to have for a gross food eating thing, and they took the eyes of the snapper.
Interesting. Yeah, but then let us know in the comments what you guys would have wanted to pick. But now we get back to camp. We have a little bit of time before the immunity challenge. And the one moment that stood out to me was this meeting at the water well between some of the Reba members, Katurah, I believe Emily was there. And I really liked what Drew was talking about as they're trying to make a bond with Katurah and Drew. And I'm sure the other players kind of factored in, but Drew seemed to be the spokesperson. He acknowledges that Katurah is kind of anti-Bruce, obviously. And Drew also realizes that Bruce is a good target from him. So when they're talking about, potentially working together, he says, hey, Katurah, as a sign of trust, why don't you throw out the name that you want to go for, and we'll just hop on board. And as planned, she says, hey, let's maybe get Bruce with Jake as the backup. And Drew's like, you know what? I trust you. That's a perfect idea to me. So I just really like that. It was very subtle, but I think that's the perfect move to getting someone to feel comfortable with you. When you got the same target, just make it feel like that it's their idea and prove that trust. You guys have any notes on that?
What you gonna say, Brice?
I was gonna say I was mad at my girl Katurah because I'm like, girl, you took the bait so easily. But also I was like, okay, Basil, because I like what you did there. Because that wasn't Drew. That was Basil.
I like him too.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I take him over all of them.
Oh, okay. Well, listen. Well, you can have Drew. I'm gonna take Basil because I definitely feel like that was like a Basil move. Because Basil was like, "Hey, yo, what's up, Katurah?" I'm trying to show you, you know, I could trust you. You trust me. Like, we in here together. Like, what you thinking? Couture was like, I mean, which I don't know what you thinking. Like, you know, like you show, tell me who you want out, baby girl. And I got it.
That's how
Couture was
Basile
like,
gets,
well, you know,
gets a girl a drink at the bar. She's like, what should I order? He's like, we can get whatever you want, baby.
whatever you want, baby girl. It's
Whatever you
happy hour. 2 for 20. We at Chili's. Couture was like, oh, well, you know, Bruce been getting on my nerves. Say what you want. It's done. You out of here. I was like, I honestly loved that move in the sense of, I feel like after they had that meeting was after Emily let him know that there was a possible ladies alliance brewing, and like he wanted to break that up and kind of come together, and just the way that he facilitated it, of coming there and saying like, we want to work with you, but listen, you whatever you want. I was like, that's amazing. But I would like to think that if I were out there, well, one, I would be at Ponderosa already.
Nah.
Facts.
But
No.
I just think that, like, if I were out there, those words would have sounded too perfect, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like this season, nobody want to say a name. Like, at this season is like their advanced level is much higher than Ghost Island and much higher than Winners at War, because it's like nobody wants to say a name. They all be like, who you want? Who you want? Who you want? Who you want?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's great from Drew, but then in retrospect, when they completely flip the plan, it's going to be hard for him to go back to Couture going forward, because obviously it's not whatever I mean, obviously Bruce was safe, but yeah, when you look at it, when Couture looks back at that moment after this upcoming tribal, it's going to be hard to trust Drew, because if he's just like, well, whoever you want, and she's like, well, you didn't listen to me. So,
you think it's still gonna affect him after? I mean, since he didn't have this vote and then he won immunity anyway. So,
well,
I mean, do you think she'll find out?
Did they have a conversation afterwards? What was their conversation? Because like afterwards, if she checked back and they told her,
I think the conclusion was it was kind of like going to be Bruce with Jake as the backup, and then of course, you know, I have to assume after the challenge when they're running around, it seems like everyone was on page to do a unanimous Jake vote. So of course, you know, when Drew's trying to extend this olive branch, in the moment it seemed very authentic, right? Like I think he did want to vote for Bruce, and so he could kind of use that as his alibi to some extent, but. Of course, you know, he kind of spearheads the blind side on one of Couture's close allies. It's still going to, it kind of defeats, I still think it's a good move, but it kind of defeats that. It would look like they were moving forward in the right direction with Couture. And of course, that's going to be a step back.
Who does Couture have right now? Like, who's she aligned with?
Kendra.
Okay.
Kendra, like
Kelly at this point. But it seems like, you know, after the last tribal, when she hopped on board with Austin, D, and Julie, that relationship was trending in the right direction. So maybe Couture, you know, not to get too far ahead, but I feel like Couture will maybe be able to understand why she was left out of that vote and then come back. But
I also, as mad as I am at Couture for that brief second of like falling for the trap, I'm also not mad at her because, like you said, where is she at right now? Like, you know, she doesn't really have a lot of, you know, people to actually work with. So it's like when these opportunities come, I would believe that she probably knows it's smoke and mirrors. But listen, at any opportunity, like I'm going to say Bruce, because you know that's what I'm going to say. So it's like, I almost feel like it's kind of a smart move on Couture a little bit. But I don't think the edit lends to that. But I also feel like there's a world in which she was actually being strategic.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So yeah, let's dive into the immunity challenge. It's sort of a Survivor classic, which I love to see again. Instead of, you know, a lot of previous seasons we just seen like stand on a beam and hold this for as long as you can. We get a little bit of like a pure strength challenge. Everyone's holding a bag connected to a rope that contains 1/3 of their starting game body weight. And before we dive into the challenge, Jeff offers the group enough rice to last them easily the rest of the game, which we've seen in past seasons. Dee and Emily step forward immediately. Couture is saying kind of like, hey, can we, kind of remember the people that stepped forward? And Jeff's like, you know what? You guys want some incentive? Stabs the bag, and it's like, and Drew's like, is that our rice? And Drew's like, boom, I'm out. And then finally Couture's out. But oh my God, that was one of the most entertaining, speak of like this episode as a great episode. That was a little moment that was just so savage of Jeff. He was ready to do that. What do we think about that rice negotiation and the stabbing of the bag?
Man, Jeff was just like, y'all better step up. I ain't got time. I don't have time today. And just stabbed it. I think that kind of like put some in him to make them move a little quicker. And I don't think Drew probably wouldn't have stepped up if he would have did that. What do y'all think?
I feel like after listening to On Fire with Jeff, he talks about how there are some things that even if they don't ever do again, they like that they have done it because it puts that, that thought in their head. And so I think that with this, they love to negotiate. And sometimes I feel like the negotiation can go on for a long time. And I feel like Jeff's like, I don't got time for that negotiation. And I know that they feel like that they can kind of sort of negotiate with him and it can be this thing. Yeah. And Jeff said, not today. So I was like, okay, Jeffrey getting a little savage.
Yeah.
So I gagged. Because I was like, oh.
Speaking of which, that reminds me of the moment at the auction where Drew gets his candy and he's like, maybe we can make something happen, Jeff. And Jeff's like, I don't care. Like, I don't know what Drew expected him to do. Be like, oh, you want a steak? Like, let's bring up the steak. But yeah, it was funny. I love the return of kind of like a more savage Jeff because we haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, he been savage this season, and he been savage on that podcast.
Speaking of, that reminds me of something I want to maybe discuss at the end, but we'll save that.
All right.
But guys,
what you want to talk about Wendell for?
I want to ask, this whole principle of sitting out for this rice. We've seen it pretty much every season recently. What's the criteria that it would take for you guys to sit out, or are you just never going to sit out of a challenge?
I sat out because it was raining and cold. That's why I sat out. No strategy behind it at all. But I felt comfortable. So I think you got to feel comfortable. You got to have some allies there that are going to have your back. Then it has to be good weather.
So what you're saying is you have to know your threat level.
Right. You got to know your threat level, James.
Okay.
Brice and Wen?
It would take a lot for me to sit out. It would take a lot. I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me.
I think my natural response would be to stay in, but I feel like on those moments when they need that one last person, I feel like they're going to get my behind because I'm like, all right, I'll do it.
You're selfless, Brice. I feel like you would do it.
But also it depends on where I'm at in the group, in the tribe. If I'm, if I feel like I need to compete, then I'm going to compete and ain't nobody going to eat.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it on my end of things. I'm like, obviously I haven't been in that situation, but for me, it would be a combination of course, the group dynamics. How comfortable do you feel? I also think there's an element of if you sit out, it might depend on the group, but maybe there's an element of like, well, he sacrificed for the rice. Let's not put the target on him this time. I know that's not like a big thing.
Have they ever done it?
But right, that's the cop out 59. They be like, they be like, all right, what God, Jack, we thank you so much. We won't vote you. And Jack, we will be snuffing your torch.
I'm saying that could be a 1%, like a fractional change. I would never think like that. But some people might. It could be a fractional factor. And then I think the last thing for me is thinking about, is this a challenge that I could realistically win? Looking at this challenge, I said it watching the episode. I don't really think it would be my challenge. I'd probably be the heaviest person there, and I would not be the strongest, looking at like a Bruce and an Austin. But it's like you never know. So I'm like, if I feel like I could be at risk of going home, obviously it would be very difficult to want to sit out. But it of course depends on the like. Oh, and then to that point too, it's like if you're worried about your threat level, maybe like kind of an Austin is, we've seen. Maybe there's something to be said about not competing and obviously not being able to win that lowers, because if you start winning a bunch of challenges, that's going to up your threat level down the line. So that could be a factor too.
I also, in saying what you were saying, I feel like a part of the reason that I would stay in is that even if I didn't think that I could win, if I'm thinking long term and I'm sitting at the end, I want to be able to say, I competed in every challenge. I just want to have that little bit of momentum to be like, while other people were dropping out, I sat in. I stayed, like, I just feel like any little bit that you could have, you never know how it will read.
Or you can be like, I got you rice. I got you food.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
I don't know if either argument matters that much, but I do think it's a fact. But also at this point in the game too, now that it's post-merge and there's like going to be challenges like every other day or even every day at some point, maybe there's also just a lot more rewards potentially up for grabs where the hunger might not be, well, of course it's a factor, but it's like there's more opportunities to eat. I don't know. It's hard to theorize about. Of course, it's so different when you be out there, but I just wanted your guys' thoughts on that.
Another reason why, again, the Jake Zaddy meter, it's not zooming up there, but
it's climbing.
I felt like when Jeff was like, Jake, extend your arm, and it makes it easier. It's not, because I would have been up there like, just that, like, I feel like that's that Boston mentality. Like, don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. Like, Jake was out there like with his little arm crutch. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. And that's a good point that I was thinking about too, though, is like, it's a little weird that the criteria for the challenge is like, if it makes it easier, you can't do it. But then it's like, there's a kind of a there's kind of a gray area there, right? Like, I was wondering, like, could I like crouch and lean back?
Yeah.
Like that would make it easier, but that's like strategy. So I don't know, but
you can do that.
Okay.
But just to quickly, I guess, recap the challenge. Let's see. Kelly and Kendra dropped first, and then I think pretty much everyone makes it to that last phase, which is obviously the hardest. Not only because the bag is the farthest away, but also you have no knot to like rest your hand on. And then Jake drops out, Austin drops out soon after, and then we get a battle of the two oldest players on the season, Bruce and Julie. And Bruce is able to win out and secure immunity when it seems like he definitely needed it. Yeah. Any other takeaways from the challenge before we head back to camp?
Look at Bruce.
Okay, Bruce.
Oh, Bruce. Go, Bruce.
I just know that this image of Bruce is his phone saver, his Android watch, is his, because I just feel like Bruce got a desktop, so I feel like it's his background on his desktop. I feel like he printed it out, and it's like the first half of it is in color, and the other half of it is like a black and white because he ran a little low on the printer, and he got that in his mirror. I feel like he got it in his car. I just know that. Yeah, but I also felt like, and what were we talking about earlier with like the Survivor luck or the Survivor the sentimental win,
the victory,
the symbolic victory.
I feel like there is this symbolic thing, especially in Survivor, that when you need the immunity the most, when the target is always on you, you always like, I always feel like people are always like, well, do they have an idol? Do they have this? I'm always like, well, y'all need to worry about if they can go and win that immunity, because I just wasn't shocked that he won, only because we heard his name so much.
Right, so we're gonna see that image on a Team Bruce active.
Oh, you already know it's going to be. Hold on, wait. Let's go.
I'm the first one.
They gotta have it because it's like the Jordan logo instead of the ball. They gotta have them with like the necklace.
The necklace. It's gonna be a keychain. It's gonna be a keychain. Okay. It's gonna be a keychain, and it's gonna be a desktop mouse what you move your mouse on?
Mouse pad.
A mouse pad. It's gonna be a mouse pad.
And something I kind of just thought about too. It's sort of funny. Of course, if Bruce loses, he was probably the target. But knowing he has an idol, you know, I'd hypothesize that they would have split on Bruce and Jake. Jake probably goes home if Bruce plays the idol. So kind of crazy how what seemed like maybe the worst case scenario for Jake with Bruce winning immunity might have actually turned out to be a good thing. But yeah, then we head back to camp, and Jake is, you know, the immediate backup plan to Bruce. We see Kelly and Emily go to Jake and give him kind of a pretty bad pitch, kind of trying to get him to throw out a name, saying like, we can maybe come up with a plan, but we need your vote, so don't play that shot in the dark. And it's like Jake wasn't buying it, and wisely doesn't throw out a name because they know they might be able to use that to bury him a little bit. So he kind of goes and looks for other options. Doesn't really find a lot of options, but there is something brewing, which is Drew getting together with the Reba 4, plus their ally Emily. And again, I really love Drew's thinking in this moment where he's like, you know, a lot of times we see Survivor players, I feel like they get caught up on sort of like an option A or B. And in this situation, Drew's like, well, maybe we just put option A or B on the table and we come up with an option C and then circle back to the other problem later. So he throws out, hey, we have 5 right here. Bruce can't vote. There's a good chance Jake plays a shot in the dark. Either way, 5 is the majority. We could come up with another plan. And he's just throwing it out there because, you know, it seems like Emily, Dee, and Julie have a relationship with Kelly. But he throws it out there and says, you know, if we want, we could take a shot because she's a good player. And then we head off to Tribal. But from the beach, you know, leading up to Tribal, what were your guys' takeaways?
I think from the edit, I was like, all right, it's gonna be Jake. And all right, they're throwing this, they're teasing us with this potential Kelly plan. But what I really appreciated was Jake not stopping his fight from when they pitched this idea to him and he didn't give a name, to him like scouring the place for idols, to even at Tribal, he fumbled his words a lot. And like you could tell he was like going through it, and there were probably obviously a lot of factors involved there, but he didn't stop fighting.
Hustler mentality.
Right. And then I mean, he was even blindsided with the Kelly vote, but we'll get there.
I don't want to keep going back to Bruce, but here we are. And I want to say that I felt like maybe last episode or 2 episodes ago, I said, why does Bruce proclaim Kelly as his number 1, right? And I feel like we got a little bit of a glimpse of that here this episode, where even Kelly was saying that, like, am I liable for him because he continues to show people and tell people that I'm his number 1? And I feel like even last week when people started taking a shot at Mama Tina, Jake didn't take a shot at Dee, but he took a shot at Mama Tina because he knew that that would weaken her. And I don't know if this was a part of Bruce's plan, but if this was a part of Bruce's plan to proclaim this so that it kind of like rises Kelly's threat level, I just think that's crazy.
Would she have almost been like a meat shield for him?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and she definitely would be a meat shield. Have you seen Kelly? She is, I mean, her zaddy.
Yeah, that's a good take. We're giving Bruce credit again. Jack, I know Jack's probably like, no, man, no. But
no comment.
Is he still not hitting the rim? Is he still not hitting the rim, Jack?
Well, I didn't have any blatant criticism of Bruce this episode, but I don't think he was trying to position Kelly like that when I do believe that she was his closest ally. I don't think that was an intentional thing, and I think it's obviously going to be. I think it's going to be worse for Bruce to not have Kelly. But I do want to go back. I mean, to Jake, just like even the fact that he just was like, screw it, just went and looked for idols. Like the fact that he goes and looks for idols for probably 2-3 hours could be scary enough to get people to change the plan.
Right.
And that's and then
And
I guess we get into tribal and we see Jake
What you was gonna say though,
continue to-
Lauren?
I was gonna say you're talking about tribal, but then at tribal when he lied, and kind of stumbled over his words.
Yeah.
That was good.
Exactly.
was
And that made
it
me
though?
wonder.
It was good because he
Was
would normally
it?
stutter, so he did the little stutter like he
It was
normally
good.
do, and it was. I believed him.
And that makes me think that he was maybe playing up the fact that he was sort of lost on his words a little bit. Because then when he stumbles and stutters, which was on purpose, it's like it's more believable because he's been like tired this whole tribal.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just jaded from this whole Survivor experience and you just can't trust what you see in front of you. But I felt like when he did that stumble, I was just like,
well,
but Couture was like,
I mean, right. But also, here's
Everybody
another
fucking-
thing that I feel like even looking for it, because at first I had to think about it, right? Seeing him squander, and I also felt like the edit be shady because when we saw him squander, like, you're not really looking, right? Like he was just like, like
about when he fell down.
He wasn't looking for an idol.
but I'm just saying, like, I feel like he was looking, but I just felt like the shots that I happened to just take a look at, it was just like, but just that in itself is a strategy, right? Like that's a strat. Like, I'm still a beginner here. All three of y'all have, and the seasons that all three of you guys have played have made it a lot farther than me. So I'm still learning, right? Like, because my mind, I'm gonna just be chilling, if y'all coming at me, all right, well, let me just enjoy my time here. Let me, I didn't look at it like that. But then when he got to the thing, it was like, but my idol, I mean, if I don't know, I was just like, bruh. But if that whole thing was an act, the Emmy goes to you.
It was good.
So you believed it. You believed it.
I mean, I'm watching, right? But if I was there, I might have believed it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not saying I necessarily believed it or not, but it's better to take a shot that people might believe than just like sit and like kind of accept what's your fate. You know what I mean?
So at that tribal on your season, Jack, when Mary J. Blige pulled out the idol, did you think
It's a great
that
tribal.
Okay. Did you think she was going to play it, or did you think Aaliyah was going to play her shot in the dark?
No, I thought that Mary J. Whenever someone pulls out the idol, usually it's to kind of bluff. So I didn't think Miss Blige was actually gonna go through with it. But when Aaliyah hit the shot in the dark, I was definitely flabbergasted.
She was rocking the boat.
And Mary J didn't get it percolating, did she?
She did not. Yeah, Mary J got blindsided and went home.
She ain't want no more drama. Okay. She said, "This is my life." Okay.
And then Lil Bow Wow came through, like Mike, and
now I could see Jack watching that movie. Now I could see Jack watching like Mike. Little Bow Wow, you just don't know. The way you move so fast
across the floor. Then you run through my mind like all the time. Yeah. To the place that I just want to take you home.
Now, before we get into the vote,
I did love a Bow Wow though. I did.
What's
love
another Bow Wow song, Brice?
I ain't never had nobody show me all the things that you done show me in the special way you told. And I'ma told you, I'ma owe it down for you, cause I believe. See, I was acting. I was pulling a Jake. I was seeing it, I was seeing if y'all would know the words.
Stumbling over your words for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what's another Bow Wow song, Wendell?
Wow.
I like to when you dribble up and down the court. I like to give and go. I like to pick and roll.
It's basketball. Bow Wow, let's go.
They playing basketball. Oh, not Jack. No.
We love
that. You know that basketball song.
I know that song.
Oh. Okay, Lauren.
His name is Shad Moss, first of all.
Okay. Ooh.
And it's my turn to do a song.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, let me hold you down. I don't know the rest.
Okay, because that's about Amorion. Okay, let me hold you.
It's featuring Amorion.
Oh, no, nope, because that was off that was on a joint album.
Mm.
Oh, but it might have been Amorion. Let me hold you down.
Is that when
I like? You ain't gonna never find a shorty like mine.
Lil Bow Wow had a great verse on that one for sure.
What? Didn't he make a song with Sierra?
I ain't never had nobody.
Oh, that's the same song.
But here, lastly, I don't know why we're talking about Shad Moss.
Shad Moss, I'm your #1 fan.
However, when they were doing when they brought back the Millennial Tour, I was shocked at how many jams Bow Wow had in his catalog. And he is like, Bow Wow's a little older than me. So it's like, I grew up on Bow Wow, but that's my era of music. I tip my hat off to Bow Wow. And I did have an opportunity to give Bow Wow a Purple Pants Podcast hoodie back in the day. But, you know, he ain't never get it, but it's all right.
Okay. Shout out to Lil Bow Wow.
I had to chauffeur him around Philly. And Brice gave me a Purple Pants Podcast hoodie to give to him.
And I was like, give it to him.
I gave the car manager.
Wendell.
Yes.
That was his opportunity.
I gave it to I was chauffeuring these fools around.
I'm just trying to figure out, and this was after he won $1 million. So why are you driving Uber XL? That's what I was trying to figure out.
Uber XL, Nas wanted a favor.
No.
He had Bow Wow doing an appearance at his You Me R&B or whatever.
Pull up your phone. Let's see your Uber app right now. Because when it was like, I want to make my $1 million last. So if I can earn an additional income.
I am not an Uber driver.
Okay. All right.
They say the first million is the slowest.
Okay.
I'm not an Uber driver.
You're not anymore.
Anyway.
How many stars you got on there, Wendell?
I was never.
Right.
How many stars you have on there? 5 stars. Yeah.
We need to see. We need the proof.
I'm like a 4.98.
What happened? Bow Wow.
That's a great score.
He's big on cleanliness, though.
Okay, so the last part of Tribal I want to touch on before we get in the vote was right at the start. Bruce says, Jeff, has anyone ever not had a vote and then won safety just to keep themselves relevant? And Jeff was like, I guess not, Bruce, you're the first. And Bruce was like, that's right.
Like I said, though, this is going to be on Bruce's Christmas tree. All the ornaments are going to be this image.
Bro, if he wins immunity again.
You know, because Bruce just gives me the type of guy. He got an Android. So I feel like all of his apps on his phone are now going to have this image.
He'll be like, iMessage.
Right, okay. You know, Facebook. Okay, wait. He got to call an Uber. He got to check his PNC bank card. He got to check his Android house.
He's probably going to use this as like a gift via text.
Yeah, you know it.
He'll be like, had a great day at the office today. And then says
He'll be like, happy birthday, Lauren.
Y'all get on my nerves. I like Bruce.
He'd be like, Couture, can we be friends again?
Man, no, I was so happy he won that challenge. Also, I mean, one third of with the 1/3 of the body, Bruce is one of the bigger guys out there. So that 1/3, is gonna be bigger. Just like more muscular, everything. So that was no small feat. And saved himself in the clutch.
Austin has a pretty equal BMX score though.
BMX?
No, BMI.
Riding bikes.
Yeah. I mean, Austin and Bruce are not guys I would want to getting in a fight with. But yeah. So
during the episode, Bruce was like, "Hey Austin, how'd you do on that challenge?"
He was probably like, Austin, what was 130 your body weight? Austin was probably like 67. Bruce was like, mine was 68.
Bruce is like, "Hey Caleb, you still watching?"
Do we want to talk about it or we want to do it?
When I said get the coconuts, this is what I meant. No.
Anyways,
Right,
so we get to the vote. Jake plays his shot in the dark, and now every time someone pulls out their shot in the dark,
okay,
I
I'm
keep
sorry.
thinking it's like an idol.
Bruce
So
was like, I'm about to vote. I'm about to vote.
Whoopsies. Hold on, let me vote. Whoopsies.
Okay. All right, sorry.
Uh,
Wait, okay, lastly, Bruce went to Twitter and was like, "What was you saying last week, Jack?"
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But
All right,
Jake,
last
No.
last one. I'm sorry. Oh, last one. To the first challenge. Bruce was like, to the first challenge of season 44.
No, that was too far. That was too far, Brice.
All right, sorry.
Too far. Too far. That's not funny.
No, we
Respect.
Now him having it handy right there. Ooh, he had that hat ready.
Okay.
Bruce, we love you.
You know you going to text us.
We get in a group chat this week.
I am hot.
Bruce,
Okay.
it was not me. That wasn't me.
I know it wasn't you, Lauren.
Mm-mm.
All right. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, so Jake plays a shot in the dark, and it does not work. However, we
Wait,
start reading the votes.
your
Jake.
internet broke out a little bit. What did Jake do?
Oh, I'm sorry. Jake played his shot in the dark unsuccessfully. Doesn't even make sense at this point.
I knew you were gonna do that, Brice, because you had the serious face. Like, what did he do?
Did my internet actually cut out though, or we were good?
Jack's internet provider.
You know
Bruce is my friend.
And Bruce is my friend too. Listen.
Bruce is all of our friends.
Jack and Lori. Okay. When DZ at the start of the podcast. All right, I'm done, Jack. Go ahead, because I can't do no more. I just got another one, but I'm not. I'm not.
I don't even know.
I'm not. I'm not.
Let's save. We can close out with them, but okay. Jake's shot in the dark fails. We get into the vote, kind of expecting it to be unanimous Jake vote. We get Jake, and then Kelly. And on that first vote, she's like, oh, and then the rest of the votes ends up being 5-3 Kelly. The Reba 4 plus Emily turned on her. She's in shock. She kind of takes it hard, but I kind of love to see that because I'm when someone gets blindsided, you want to see like a raw, authentic reaction. And then she wrapped it up with like, damn, like respect, but that was crazy, like whatever. Yeah, so we lose Kelly. and call me crazy, but Kelly's still my winner pick.
He was mine
I
too.
just-
Right.
Yeah.
That was a tough pill to swallow. My goodness.
Yeah.
You, as a viewer, you could feel all that emotion. Yeah, that was crazy. And Kelly was like such a great player.
She was dynamic, amazing, and I say in the first season, or the first time in the season, I'm pissed at Austin. And Kelly was too. She looked right at him and said, "Was it you?" Like, and I'm with you, Jack, right? I don't be liking this politically correct, like, good game, good game, good game. You
in the moment, absolutely.
Like, not even in the moment after.
Well, I mean, I think, I'm sure as a juror, Kelly's gonna be, respect the gameplay, but in the moment when you're shocked, like, own that, you know what I mean? And she did, and I'm glad you brought up Austin, because now Austin has that since he got the amulet instead of the sandwich.
Jack, did you mute yourself? What?
I was muted. Sorry.
That came
I
back.
just got Bruce. Sorry, someone called me and it like muted my mic. But since the two tribals that Austin has been to, but the two tribals that Austin has been to, aside from that split tribal, he has eliminated. Actually, the split tribal he was at, Kelly wasn't there, so he's the both chances he's had to take out someone with an amulet, he's done so. He's gotten revenge for his lack of sandwich. Kelly actually got a sandwich this episode, which I think maybe put a target on her in Austin's mind. And so now Austin has two full-blown idols. And I like this from Austin too, because he wasn't necessarily forcing the narrative, but when the opportunity presented itself, he took full advantage. But yeah, losing Kelly, I mean, it kind of, just off top, kind of reminds me of like Jeremy and San Juan del Sur, where he's sort of a clear-cut favorite, and they take an opportunity to pull a fast one on him, and then he comes back in the future and kind of proves that he's a great player. So, I'm hopeful that Kelly might be on like a second chances, whatever. And if she is, she's already in my mind a clear-cut favorite. So, what do you guys think of this whole situation?
I just think it shows how, first of all, for me, this is like, thank you so much for 90-minute episodes, right?
Yeah.
Because this was amazing. And I also feel like it was so amazing that I didn't even think about the amulet or amulet, or like, you know what I mean? Like I forgot about it. Like there was so much going on this episode that like I honestly forgot about it. And it would not surprise me if it was more Drew pushing for it than Austin, because I know that Drew has a very like direct mindset. And I remember when Austin came back, and Drew was like, "So we need to get these people out," and Austin was like, "Yeah." So, but I mean, I'm pissed that Kelly is gone.
I'm hurt because I thought her and D were gonna battle it to the end.
Yeah.
And with her gone, I think a lot actually kind of opens up now. I think D is playing a very strong game, right? But I'd venture to say that Austin and Drew have real legitimate arguments if they get to the end. And
Right.
Austin is loaded up right now, has all of this weaponry, and has been like as much of a standout as he is. He's been minimizing his threat very well. So, but I could see a Drew win. Brice, if you don't see that screen,
Loaded in every way.
Okay, he is loaded up.
Something else that's interesting too is this was Drew's last chance to play his safety without power. But I think it's good, if you're making a move like this, you got to be there as a vote. But what I wonder is if Jake were actually the vote, I think he probably plays it, because it's just like, if it's going to be a unanimous vote on Jake, why not just play it on yourself? Make sure if something ricochets or whatever, you're chilling. But and to Brice's point, I'm glad they didn't really bring up the amulet, because that might have been like a red herring to the fact that Kelly would have gone home. It's like, don't even mention that it's a factor. and keep the viewers kind of in the dark too.
Right.
But
I even think with Drew having, even though he didn't use it, he still has it, right?
Yeah.
And that could be even more powerful moving forward. Because again, if he's feeling like his back is against the wall, he might pull that bad boy out and be like, hey, like, I'm not even going to be at this tribal, just to let you guys know. So I'm not going to have a vote. So do what you may.
It is expired now. But are you saying that he could use it? He could like threaten it, and
right?
Maybe, like
he just show it and flash it.
Maybe he rips off the bottom. That's like this ends at final 10.
Right, or just folds it up.
That's a Dom move, ripping off the bottom. Yeah, I could see him doing that.
He folds it up, Brice.
Yeah.
He shows it to me. He shows it to D, and she's like, "What's that folded part at the bottom?"
Like, he has to be clear. Basil has to say it. Like, yo, listen, I'm trying to tell you, like, I got this joint. I ain't gonna be in this trial, so do what you gonna do, shawty. Like, you know, like Basil has to smoothly do it.
Man. Okay, yeah, that wraps up. And but the one thing I'll mention that I wanted to talk about, and this is aside from the episode, this is actually some news that we got, I guess it was a Jeff interview or the On Fire podcast or whatever, that I just wanted to get your guys' takes on. Jeff has said that going forward, quitters' torches won't get snuffed, which I obviously think overall is a good principle, but it makes me wonder in an instance this season like Sean, where there was, I guess we could say, a non-zero chance that they still would vote for Sifu. How do they go about that? Because if they just send Sean home and say, you quit, you're out, there's no vote, that could take away the opportunity for, some strategic plays, or even what we saw here was D voting for Sifu, which still I think adds more to the season than just not. Is it going to be like, okay, we still vote, but then if you go, your torch isn't snuffed? Or what's like the protocol here?
I think Jeff just be like, get out. And then y'all go vote. Like, he seemed like he's fed up. He's fed up.
I think in knowing Jeff for almost a decade, I think that Jeff likes clickbait, right? I think Jeff likes to say some things that he always doesn't really mean, but he will say it. And I think that him saying that is kind of a response to this season, because we know that he does not like it. But I also feel like he is so trying to discourage applicants and people that are playing to be like, don't quit. Because,
I think, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to end it with.
I think he needed to say something. I think he needed to say something. And I think that he will go forward with what he's saying. I think he won't snuff quitters' torches. I think in the case where they kind of like tell people to vote for them, I think he'll allow them to vote and he'll snuff their torch. But
see, I think that that's really what he was getting at. I think he was trying to stop engineered quits, right? Like, so I feel like if you, we're gonna have to find out, but I feel like if you're at tribal and you tell people to vote for you, I feel like he's just going to snub your torch.
He's gonna what?
Or he's not gonna snub your torch.
You think he's gonna snuff it?
No, I think he's going, like, they're not going to vote. Oh yeah, he's not going to snuff it or snuff
but
it. He just going to say.
That's my question, because I'm like, like we can take the Sean example. Is I think the vote was necessary there. So now it's going to be you vote, and if you have this engineer quit, you just don't get your torch. I that's what I hope it is that they still vote, but you don't get your torch snuffed. Because if he's like, all right, Sean, you want to go, you're out. Then what if my alliance wants to make a huge move? That eliminates that option. And then obviously, if our alliance wants to make a huge move, production probably relays that to Jeff. But if that only happens when Jeff knows there's going to be a big move that's made, then players can maybe be like, well, you said that we weren't going to vote, but why are we voting? Like, then that could be a red flag to some players. So I feel like it's got to be hopefully, I guess is my hope is that they still vote, but you don't necessarily get snuffed. It's just sort of a confirmation that you quit and you're out.
Brice, I have a question.
Yeah,
Did you look forward to that moment of having your torch snuffed?
No.
Me neither.
Not.
I can't ask Wendell, but.
Well, I mean, we could ask about winners at war.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
We could ask about winners at war.
But that was not, for me, that was not like a moment that I wanted, you
Right.
know, or that I cherish.
I agree with you, right? Like I feel like that might almost be incentive for people to be like, but I think after I was able to process it, I think that and I feel like I'm more of a viewer now. I do appreciate it and understand it, but like you're right, as a player, I'm good. I'm good because I mean, even after this episode, right? Like I just feel I just feel like this. Not that I didn't mean to do that. I just like this. Like after Kelly is gone, like I just like
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
well, I think that this was an amazing episode. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. It has been such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on, and hopefully we'll see you in very
In New
soon.
Orleans. Yeah, New
Yes.
Orleans.
Jack, thank you so much for showing up on time and doing your thing. We really appreciate you. We will be back next week covering. But listen. Hold on, wait. But wait, you're not the only one with that, because if you do that, you know what he gonna do. Nah, but seriously, Wendeezy, we appreciate you. And next week, Philadelphia, we will be in Philly turning up for Brice and Win Tour 45. So get your tickets available. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much. This has been your Survivor News.
Peace.
Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
Dot, dot, dot.